Hello, hello. This is the Totally Awesome podcast. The podcast so bad that you'll be tapping out by the end of it. I am one of your hosts, Mr. Perfect Fangstein.
Bradley, have you started yet?
Yes, JoshAgeddon, I have.
Alright. What's up, everybody? Oh, God. You've seen the title of this podcast, so you can probably tell.
And the mask is a dead giveaway, even though it's a freaking sweet tooth mask.
Ow, my face! I've already ripped this mask once. You anus. We're going to be talking about the Joker movie. Because we just went to go see it.
Twice.
I was going to get to that. Actually, I'm going to get me a drink. Keep them entertained.
So yes, I was guilt-tripped by your host here, truly, into seeing it twice.
Did you enjoy watching me frolic away?
You looked like you were literally just about to go through every mix of emotions you had. You had parts where you were angry, you had parts where you were freaking petrified, and then you had parts where you just wanted to come all over the theater screen.
That was the majority of it. I probably did a little. I feel sorry for the people in front of me. But yeah, we saw the Joker. Or Joker, and I loved it so much, I absolutely demanded we immediately buy another ticket and watch it again, and we did. And now Bradley wants to kill me.
I've always wanted to kill you.
Now he just has another reason.
Exactly.
The first couple minutes, we're just going to give our general thoughts, and then we're going to get into spoiler territory because...
Which I will directly shout as loud as I can, spoiler warning, so we know that we're at that point of the video.
Yes, just cancel out my eardrums.
You got it.
Oh,
so,
what have I asked for?
Since this is your podcast, JoshAgeddon, why don't you share first your opinions of the movie? And what were your expectations going into it?
Wait, let me take that. This is the best movie I've ever seen. I thought it was going to be good going into it. I thought it was going to be really good, and I've heard it's really good. Except for the stupid critics who have been trying to create controversy where there isn't any, but I guess we'll mention that later.
There's always going to be controversy no matter the movie.
Yeah,
but let's try not to get
because we
too
can't
political.
enjoy anything anymore. Everything has to be political.
But let's try not to get into politics.
Yeah.
Anywho, my opinion, going into it, I knew it was going to be a good movie. I heard good things about it from YouTubers I like to watch. IGN fucking gave it a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10!
Which you can't trust their word for shit, but for once they got it right.
IGN sucks, but holy crap. When I first watched the review and I saw 10, my jaw dropped. I was like, bruh.
And when my reaction when watching the movie, I also thought it was great. I think it was a great origin film of not perhaps the most symbolic villain in all of DC. Take a back seat, Lex Luthor. Joker has your fucking number.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. This is the best movie ever. I like this more than every Star Wars movie.
Every Dragon Ball movie.
I like this more than Dragon Ball Super Broly. So I have never done this before. Also, we're distracted because my cat is under the table.
He's distracted.
I'm always distracted. But I've never watched the movie, loved it so much that I was like, dude, we gotta watch this again right now. And I had to convince him to have us, because he's my ride. So we watched it again 2 times in a row, and I loved it even more the second time. He's still a little salty.
Yes, totally, because I actually wanted to save some cash to get some decent dinner.
We did. We got Taco Bell.
Yeah, that I paid for everything. You didn't chip in.
We got that high-quality Mexican food.
Yeah, it's food that I bought you.
Yes, because we are men of culture. Oh, God. Ah!
Give me that neck! I'm going to strangle you.
Okay. Anyway.
But yeah, a lot of things that we really liked about it. Loved Phoenix as the Joker.
Joaquin Phoenix is the greatest actor walking the face of the planet, and no one will ever be able to convince me otherwise.
I firmly believe that Joaquin Phoenix... Don't make fun of how I say the name. I still have trouble. Is just as good, if not better, than Heath Ledger.
Hey, we have Stephen walking. Now we have Walking Phoenix. Ow! Better than sitting, Phoenix. Ow!
Stop it.
Anyway.
He still has the Joker mood, if you can't tell.
Yes, a little bit. But, and there was like maybe 2 or 3 shots in the movie where he wasn't in it. This was Joaquin Phoenix's movie.
This is, the way I've heard it described is, this is a movie that will make an actor's career. So even years from now, this is a movie that people are going to look back on and go, Phoenix, you did a fucking great job.
If he does not get an Oscar for this movie, I have lost faith.
I already think this will be movie of the year.
It already is, in my opinion. It's the movie of my life.
A poor cat.
Poor cat. But, yeah. So, the last 20 to 30 minutes of this movie, oh my god.
Let's not quite get into that just yet. The other thing I also do want to say about it is it's not too often you can actually see the process of a person becoming a villain. I mean, yes, you do see that in the movies, but it's usually because, oh, my family died, or, ooh, I'm so sad, woe is me, woe is me. And with how they did it with the Joker in this situation...
It's because in movies, they're focused on, like, the heroes, and, like, the villain, they don't have that much time to get into his origin, but since this is just the villain, the whole movie is the build-up.
The most realistic depiction of Joker I've ever seen.
And the way, the best description for it was one of my favorite movie reviewers, Jeremy Johns. He described it as subtle changes throughout the movie until, who he is at the beginning of the movie and who he is at the end of the movie, 2 completely different things. It's like, how did I get here? And just change after change after change after change.
And they flow so seamlessly together.
Yeah.
Like, you can understand what he's going through and why he does what he does.
It's so good. Come on, can we get into spoilers now, please?
Spoiler warning!
Spoiler warning!
Now we can get into it.
Okay. Alright.
Hold on, quick warning. This is a spoiler warning. If you've not seen the Joker movie, 1, what are you doing with your life?
I was thinking the exact same thing.
2, go watch it as soon as you can. Or if you can't see it in theaters, wait for it to come on DVD, pirate it, I don't care, watch it.
Or get a friend of yours that has long hair and they'll convince you to watch it twice.
Just get the fucking spoilers over with.
Okay, so...
First spoiler you want to get into.
Probably the funniest, most awful thing.
I know what he's talking about.
Oh my god. We talked about this a little bit in the car. We have
to explain the scene.
Okay, so he's gone full in he's gone.
He's over the deep end.
He's off his rocker. Spoiler alert.
He's over the deep end and into the abyss.
He kills his mom. He smothers her. And after that, that's the point. Like, you could say, like, when he smothered his mom, Arthur's gone.
He was here, but as soon as he killed his mom, he was all the fucking way up
He's
here.
not Arthur anymore. He's 100% Joker. And he paints his face, and his 2 clown friends come by, including the fat guy that screws him over in the first part of the movie.
Fat guy named Randall. And an actual midget.
A midget. I'm so triggered you said that. Anyway.
We both said the same time.
So what happens is, they're talking. He says, "Oh yeah, I'm off my medicine and I feel good. I killed my mom and now he doesn't say. They say his mom's dead.
My mom died and I'm
celebrating."
Because they asked him, "Well, why are you dressed up in makeup? You have a new job. You going to the rally?" He's like, "No, my mom died and I'm celebrating."
And I'm just like, I didn't catch that my first viewing. I didn't catch the I'm celebrating. My second viewing, I was like, bruh.
I noticed that the first one.
Bruh. But then they're talking, and then he pulls out a pair of scissors and stabs Randall in the neck, and then uses his head as a basketball against the wall.
He stabs this guy in the neck, making him fall to the floor. And then he literally falls on top of him, he grabs him by the chest and the head, and he's just smashing it over and over and over while that poor little midget's hiding behind a stool.
Screaming in terror.
Like, oh God!
Oh why? God! Why, Arthur? Why? And me and Bradley, of course.
We're just like, holy shit.
And then we start giggling. Because then Joker, or Arthur, he's Joker at this point. Arthur's dead. It's Joker. He slumps back. He's fully psycho. And the midget's freaking out. And he's like, my favorite thing in the movie. The most Joker thing I've ever seen.
Can I get into the little bit, then I'll let you say your favorite part?
Sure.
So what ends up happening is after Joker smashes Randall's head into the wall, he just slouches down, he looks relaxed, and like Joshua was saying, the midget, he was panicking, he was petrified, scared, shit his pants. Anywho,
I described it in the car as pants shittingly terrified.
So what ends up happening is Joker says, "Don't worry, you can leave, I won't hurt you." So he just inches towards the Joker, which I will let him.
He starts trying to, there's a dead body right there. So, of course, he's frazzled. So he's trying to walk by, and the Joker does this. And he makes the poor midget just absolutely shit himself. So the midget starts running at the door trying to get out, but there's a deadbolt, and the midget can't reach it. He can't get out, and me and Bradley are just dying.
We even said we are awful people, but this is hilarious.
This is absolutely demented, but it's so painfully Joker, and it's so hysterical.
And he actually has to ask Joker to undo it for him.
He has to have the guy that just murdered his friend. Can you open the door for me?
And he does it gladly.
This movie is perfection. Absolute perfection.
I was explaining it to him, my literal reaction to the last half hour of this film, it was just me, so I was shocked, and my jaw was just agape, but then as it progressed, it slowly turned into just a O to a...
Yeah, okay.
And it stayed that way.
The last 20 to 30 minutes of this movie is just the best.
It's the most striking.
Yeah, because, and if you're saying, well, if the last 30 minutes are the only good part, no. Everything else is build-up. It's a slow burn.
And it's good build-up, too.
It is a slow burn movie. This is not like an action-heavy movie. There is some violence in it, and it gets extremely violent.
Well, I like the approach that they did with it because...
It's not like Avengers Endgame. Not at all.
Right, but the thing I was going to say is they use blood as a very powerful imagery object, because even in these dark backgrounds, when someone is injured and you see them bleed, you see the blood.
After he bashes Randall's head into the wall,
with blood smeared on his face and bits of the brain on it.
And bits of the brain on the wall leaking and dripping down, he's like, by the way, I'm going to be on a talk show later tonight.
It's like, hey, you watch this talk show? I'm going to be on it later.
When we first saw the movie, that line killed me. Because I'm just like, you just murdered a guy, you have brain matter sliding down the wall. By the way, I'm going to be on TV tonight. And I'm just like, oh my god.
Who else but Joker?
Oh my god. This is absolutely, this is so painfully Joker. It's the best. Like, but, he was talking about how his jaw dropped. Like, not even 10 minutes, like, maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes into the movie. The first part of the movie is, like, when in the trailer, when the asshole kids beat him up and break the sign over his head. Well, his boss doesn't believe he was mugged, and he's like, give the guy, the person that,
give the owner his sign back. His store's going out of business, for God's sake.
And Arthur's like, they mugged me. They destroyed the sign, but the guy doesn't believe him.
And he even says, why would I keep his sign?
And the guy's like, I don't know. Why would anyone do anything? Just give the guy his sign back. And then he starts insulting
him. Or else I'll have to take it out of your paycheck.
Yeah, but then, this was the first part of the movie where I was like, oh my god.
This is the first time I've seen him scared. But a good way.
The look on Joaquin Phoenix's face. Because in this movie, he has a mental condition where when he's nervous or pissed or whatever,
he'll just start laughing for no reason.
He laughs uncontrollably. Like in the trailer when he's like, like, it physically pains him. He can't control it. So he's trying not to laugh, but he's pissed. He wants to do to this guy what he does to Randall later in the movie. But he can't do anything because that's his boss. He wants to keep this job. But he's just sitting there like...
And just building and building. You can see the anger growing on his face.
You can see it in his eyes.
Which, one touch that I love that they added was that Joker actually had a business card on him explaining his condition.
Yeah, but like the look on his face when his boss is just railing on him, I'm just like, that dude is going... Like, if I had no idea what this movie was about, if I never heard of the Joker before, if I saw that face, I would turn around and run as fast as I could in the other direction. Because that is the most terrifying look on a human being's face I've ever seen.
And there were so many times in this movie where they really take advantage of the fact that Joker and, spoiler, his mom are...
They're both insane.
They're insane and they suffer from different disorders.
Like
they literally... You see these scenes take place and you think... Oh wow, things are actually going good for him. Guess what? Plot twist, it was all his imagination.
He was just daydreaming. Like Shazzy Beats, I don't think she was given a name in the movie. I don't remember. The hot girl in the trailer that was Domino in Deadpool 2.
They gave her a name, but I can't think of it.
I was too busy staring at Joaquin Phoenix, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So there are parts of the movie where like all of a sudden, even though he's only had like one interaction with her, and then he starts stalking her, then she goes to his dorm room, and they pretty much start dating. But then later in the movie, when he goes in her apartment, why did I say dorm room? Her apartment, because I'm in college. She goes in her apartment, and he's just sitting there after a bunch of shit just went down, and she acts like she's never seen him before. I was like...
And not just act like she doesn't see him before, she flips out, because literally as she's turning around, she just put her daughter to bed.
And there's
her
this
little
guy...
reaction is just to scream and jump back.
Because there's this guy that she barely knows, that she's seen once, just sitting in her living room covered in rain. And Arthur's a creepy looking dude.
And the reason why Arthur really likes her is because she made a joke that he really liked. Which,
yeah.
If you're questioning what the joke is, they say how the building's bad, and all she does is...
And that sticks with him throughout the movie. And honestly, it's kind of poetic, because at the end of the movie, he does blow someone's brains out.
So well, he did that like halfway through. Remember?
Yeah, in the train with those guys. And me and Bradley were talking about this on the way while we were in the car discussing. Like, we were like, okay, those first two guys in the train that he killed, that was self-defense. Mm-hmm. They deserved it. Like, they were... I was shocked that... I didn't... Okay.
I'm going to give a brief rundown of it, okay?
Okay.
So, Joker loses his job. He's fired. He's trying just to go back home.
Why he's fired. Because why he's fired
You explain why he's fired.
Okay, so at the beginning of the movie, he gets mugged. So, Randall gives him a gun. He's like, you should have this to protect yourself. And Arthur's like...
But we're not supposed to have guns.
And he's like, dude, just trust me. And of course later he accuses
He
Arthur.
rats him out.
He rats him out and says Arthur tried to buy this from me because Randall's a douche. But he gets what he gets what he deserves.
We said what he deserves, but continue. Why does he get fired?
So I actually heard about this part of the movie. I read it in a magazine, and then I stopped reading the magazine. I was like, why is the magazine spoiling the movie for me? Magazine companies, stop that.
Well, should we tell him what Joker or Asher's job is in this movie? Or, I'm sorry, Arthur.
Asher?
Yeah,
I was like...
I don't know why. But Arthur's job in this movie is he's basically a clown for hire for different types of jobs.
Yeah. So he goes to this sick children's hospital.
Like St. Jude's.
Yeah, like St. Jude's. Like, imagine a 1981 St. Jude's hospital. So he's in there, he's dancing, and everyone's having a good time.
And
then the gun that he kept on him falls out of his pants on the floor in the middle of this hospital room with all these sick children and nurses. And then everyone's just like...
Silent. Dead silent.
So he, of course, gets fired.
And in case you're curious, the song that he did that to is If You're Happy and You Know It, it was while he was stomping.
It was while he was stomping his feet that the gun fell out, and everyone was like, well, we won't be seeing this clown here anymore. So he gets fired, and I was confused as to why I thought that they confiscated the gun. That's why it surprised me, because when he's on the train, like in the trailer, and they start beating him up, it's very similar to how he was beat up in the beginning of the movie. But he pulls out that gun and starts shooting them. I thought that they confiscated the gun, but it makes sense because he was claiming it was a prop.
Yes, and the other thing is, too, I mean, it's Gotham.
Yeah.
You're going to get away with a lot.
Yeah, it's Gotham City.
And
Gotham City in this movie looks like the shittiest place to live.
And that's the whole point.
And that's the point.
Because it's based off of big cities like New York.
Mm-hmm.
Not that New York is shitty, or at least not in my experience, I haven't been. But anywho, so literally what ends up happening is, so he's riding back on the train, and these three guys, who we later find out work for Wayne Corp.
Mm-hmm.
And
I didn't see that coming either.
Neither did I. So they're basically just kind of messing around with a woman, like a guy is throwing a French fry at
French
her.
fries at her.
And it's like, come on, he's asking you a question.
And he's just like, and I'm like,
and then
you're wasting perfectly good French fries.
And watching all of this go down,
Arthur starts laughing because he's making him nervous. And the three assholes don't let him explain that this is a disorder, so they start beating him up.
Literally.
He pulls out the gun and starts shooting.
Literally, Arthur, they're asking, like, what the fuck is so funny, asshole? So he literally reaches into his pocket to grab his little card to explain it to them, but before he does, they snatch his bag away, making him lunge up to try and grab it, where someone promptly grabs him from behind.
Like in a full Nelson.
And
Thanks, Bradley.
And Arthur's trying to kick back. He's trying to fight, and
he gets a solid right hook.
And the guy is literally taunting him, like, "Oh, you like the kick? You like the kick? What?"
Punches him right in the face, and then they start kicking him. He pulls out the gun and starts shooting. He shoots one of them in the head.
Headshot.
Chest, stomach, and he shoots.
And then a guy starts running away.
The third guy he shoots in the ass, which is funny.
And then he literally
he hunts this guy down.
It took a total of 3 shots to kill the guy, because as this guy's running, he shoots him a second time, making him fall and crawl to the stairs trying to escape Joker.
And then he walks up to him and empties the clip.
He shoots him one more time, and that kills him.
No, he doesn't shoot him one time. He clicks it until it doesn't shoot
I was going
anymore.
to say, because he shot him once, and that stopped him, and then he was like 1, 2, 3, then he emptied the clip.
Mm-hmm. Have I mentioned this movie's perfection?
It's so morbid, but it's so beautiful.
The part where he's like pretending, like before he goes on the show, immediately after he smothers his mother. You mother smother. Anyway, I like rhyming. I'm sorry. So he's pretending to be interviewed by Robert De Niro's character Maury, or Maury, whatever he calls it. Murray. So he's in the chair, and like the TV's playing in the background, so the audience is laughing. So he's pretending to having an interview with himself. So he pulls out the gun. It's empty. It's not loaded. So he's like, "Want to hear a knock knock joke? Want to hear a joke?" And he's like, "Knock knock." Pretends to shoot himself, and the crowd in the background laughs. And Bradley. This was the first time viewing. Bradley was like, "That's so morbid," and I'm just like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, he's joking about killing himself in front of people,
and he has a laugh track to it.
And the other thing is they do a good job at actually making you feel sympathetic to Joker, which. Yeah, I mean, I know one reason why people are mad is we're not supposed to sympathize with a psychopath, but that's the thing. DC villains, Marvel villains, they are in some way, shape, or form sympathetic to a degree. Mm-hmm. And especially considering how the Joker has so many different origins, his origin is unknown.
There's a big difference between understanding why someone does something and agreeing with that person.
Exactly.
Why it's so hard all of a sudden to differentiate the two, I have no idea.
And literally in this movie, all the character Arthur wants to do, he just wants to be a good stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
That's all he wants.
And
he can't explain his disability to people, and he has a chance. He goes to a local show and gets ready to, show everyone what he has.
The reason why, like when...
He couldn't even say hello. He just started laughing.
Like it was after the scene where his therapist was like, "We're not going to be able to do this anymore because they cut our funding." And then they immediately cut to him in the nightclub, and he's shaking. He's already like you can tell like he hasn't had his medicine. He doesn't have any medicine.
He's getting anxious.
He's anxious, and I'm like, oh god. So he's on stage with no medicine, trying to perform, and Bradley saw me wincing, and I was like, I don't want to look at the screen because this is embarrassing. He
laughed for a good portion of that skit, and then he goes on to talk about how his mother said, "Oh, you should stay in school to get a job and do good." and things like that. And he made a comment along the lines of, "No, I don't. You know why? Because I'm going to get a job as a comedian."
Yeah, but honestly, if it wasn't for him laughing unintentionally, like uncontrollably, that ruined his routine. But that's not the point.
It did, but what the awful part of this was the fact that he underperformed. That's not what hurts him initially, because he seemed happy by the end of it.
Yeah.
What got him was this person he looks up to, Murray, someone who he's watched for years.
He daydreams about having a very positive experience. Because honestly, I was when at the beginning of the movie, him and his mom are watching the talk show host, and then it cuts to him actually there, and I was thinking, oh, like it's just a time jump,
or like a
transition or something, and he's actually there. But then it started getting things. I could tell almost immediately that this is like some kind of daydream, because things were going way too good.
That was my thought process exactly. But anyway,
and it was such a positive experience. I was like, oh, that's
and like the big thing that he said,
it cuts back, like when it feels so good, like such a warm embrace. It immediately cuts back to Arthur just staring at the TV, and you're like, oh, he's daydreaming. That didn't actually happen.
And it's a warm embrace after this talk show host said, "You know what, Arthur? I would be more than glad and proud to have a son like you."
Yeah.
Because in this story, Joker did not grow up with a father.
Yeah. Because he was adopted.
Spoiler, adopted.
Spoilers. It's revealed in the movie that he was adopted, and his adopted dad chained him to a radiator.
They talked about, because the mom, she's
a psychopath.
She's a psychopath. The son's a psychopath, and she's not just a psychopath. She's literally delusional.
Yeah, literally.
And the thing is, they show how Arthur was abused, because he was abused badly, and they showed punches to the face, slashes, whippings, and when they found him, he was malnourished. He was tied to a boiler.
A radiator.
A radiator, yeah.
Big difference.
And anyway, and that just goes to show you, he had a traumatic childhood. And it even says his condition is caused by trauma. And his abusive stepfather, I'm just going to call him that, literally, they talked about how much damage it did to his head. He punched this kid who was 6 years old in the skull.
I'm so glad you're using me as a prop.
And the thing is, it's not a slap, it's not a tap, it's a literal flat out punch.
It's not me and Bradley having rough sex.
It's like me,
which we will later tonight.
It's like me punching the skull of a squirrel.
Yeah, but have we mentioned how fucked up this movie is?
It's the Joker. It's supposed to be.
This movie is so fucked up in so many different ways. But
do we want to get into the ending, or is there still more you want to talk about?
No, part of the ending that I loved, I kind of called something at the end. So after he gets arrested after he shoots Robert De Niro in the face. So they arrest him, but because of what he did on national television, and there's already a lot of... the city's a powder keg.
Can I say this part?
Sure.
So what ends up happening is, because of what he said and what he did on TV... There are these protests going around. They turn into flat-out riots. Cars are on fire, flipped over. People are robbing banks, stores, and it cuts over to a shot of a movie theater, the Blade of Zorro. And guess who one of the people who walks out of it are? Thomas Wayne, Martha Wayne, and Bruce Wayne. And one of the rioters, one of the followers of the Joker, reenacts the literal scene that turns Bruce Wayne to follow the path of the Batman.
Yeah.
So that literally locked their fates.
Yes.
Which there was a...
Have I mentioned that this movie is perfection?
And the part is, this movie pulls a flat-out troll on you.
Yes.
Because it has you believe at one point that Arthur... the Joker is the son of Thomas Wayne.
We both bought it.
I read There's a part where he reads a letter that his mother wrote, because his mother goes on so much about how Thomas Wayne's such a great guy, all of his employees are family, but so he reads a letter that she is trying to send him, and he says, I'm sick, I'm going to die soon, I'm in trouble, your son is in trouble.
And Arthur reads that and flips out, but of course, it's later revealed that she's delusional. And she worked for them. She
literally thought that she had an affair with Thomas Wayne and had to sign papers so that she could never talk about it. She denied the fact, and she genuinely believed that Arthur was her son.
It's like she conflated the adoption papers with "Don't talk about this ever again" papers.
Right, and the thing is it's sad because Arthur actually believes this.
Yeah.
And he meets, little Bruce Wayne, and he's...
So creepy.
It's creepy,
creepy.
But I can understand why, because he hasn't had any siblings.
Yeah.
And now here's someone who he thinks is his little brother.
The idea of the Joker and Batman being brothers just makes my brain go... Whoa! Am I right?
No, when I read that, I'm like, holy shit, they're gonna do this!
And we both bought it hook, line, and sinker.
We did! We totally fucking did!
How fitting is it for a movie about called The Joker to pull swerves like that where it's like, ha, gotcha! It's so fitting. This is a movie that will fuck with the audience, because this movie is literally The Joker.
It is.
Have I mentioned this movie's perfection yet? Have I mentioned it yet?
You've mentioned it plenty.
My God. Can we go see this movie again?
You're gonna go see it with your brother again!
Yes, I absolutely will. I will fight people over this. I want to fight those critics. The critics that has a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes, which honestly, if you're gonna give the Joker movie a rating, 69 is perfect, because that's a joke.
And the thing is, the audience score for the Joker...
It's like a 92, 93.
It's a 93, or at least it was when we went in to go see the film.
Of course, like the scores around the Joker movie, of course, everything about this movie is controversial. And it's perfect, because it's annoying and it's stupid, but it's perfect because it's about the Joker.
Alright, so...
Of course it is.
Right, and we've talked about a lot of great things about the movie, but there's one thing that we've not touched on that I think is something that we should talk about the Joker movie.
What?
The soundtrack of all the moments when you could slowly see Arthur turning into the Joker.
The soundtrack of this movie.
It's the perfect mix of like a psychotic lullaby. Because there's a slight undertone that just makes you want to relax. And like, oh hey, I could fall asleep to this. But with the overtone that just sounds demented. It sounds evil.
Yes. Go watch this movie in a theater. Because the speakers that play this music, it's ethereal. I cannot describe it any other way than just ethereal.
It's like the equivalent of every single those scary little ghost girls going la 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 la.
Like the speakers really did like the music justice. Cause like it was honestly the music was so powerful it was making the theater shake, and it added to the movie. Because like, just oh my God, this movie. But so, what else? What else can we circle jerk about this movie about?
There's not too much.
Okay. I did say I wanted to bring up one thing about the ending. One thing I called. All right, after he gets arrested, after he murders Robert De Niro, blows his brains out. So there's a riot going on that he kind of lit the flame for. So,
Viva la Revolution!
Yes. Thank you, Bradley. So an ambulance that's being driven that was commandeered by a clown rioter runs into the police car that has the Joker in it. So they bust him out. So he stands on top of the car with a sea of rioters practically worshiping him.
And the other thing
is... I was like, and he's looking at the camera, sorry to cut you off, but there's blood coming out of his nose and a lot of his makeup's gone away. And I was like, he's going to take the blood around his mouth and turn it into a smile. And he does it, and that's when the music crescendos. And I'm just like, Take my money!
And the thing is, the way he does it, it's not just like he just smears his cheeks like that. No, he actually grabs the side of his lips and peels them up into the perfect smile that he's known for. And after he releases it, the blood is just stuck there.
Yeah.
With the permanent blood smile.
With the music at the crescendo. And another thing that makes it even better, what was he doing at the beginning of the movie? This. What's he doing at the end of the movie? This. Bookending things always works for me. They bookended the smile but added blood because this movie, like I mentioned several times, is absolute fucking perfection.
It is, and it literally turns a guy who literally defined himself as someone who came into this world to put light and happiness into a very dark, dark world.
Mm-hmm.
And to literally...
And then the last scene of the movie, I will say it annoyed me that when he was laughing in that hospital room, in that psych ward, he didn't have the Joker makeup on. His hair was black. And I was just like, oh, if only they had the makeup and the green hair. But I understood it. Like, it would make sense for them to. But I was like,
it's more realistic. It's not like the animated or Arkham stuff where they just let him stay in the tuxedo. And
he's still absolutely the Joker.
Oh, absolutely.
After he kills his mom, he's Joker for the rest of the movie. With or without makeup. So, I didn't catch on to this at first. So, he's in the room with the black lady, who honestly is kind of like a stand-in for his therapist.
Mm-hmm.
So, after that, it cuts to him leaving the room.
With bloody footprints after every step.
So, it took me a second. I was like...
I had to point it out to him.
Like, you pointed it out to me the second it clicked in my brain. I was like... Did he kill her?
Yes.
And Bradley was like, yes. And I was like, fucking A, man.
Well, handcuffed.
Handcuffed.
I'm just assuming.
I want to know how.
I'm just assuming that he somehow, like, charged her, knocked her down, and just stomped her brains
or
in.
something.
Well, that's the only thing I can think of.
And then he starts moonwalking.
He dances at the window, and the final scene of it is him running from, like, one of the workers trying to capture him.
He's literally playing cat and mouse with the psych ward. He's playing cat and mouse with the warden. And that's how the movie ends.
Not the warden, but, like, one of the...
You know what I mean, like one of the guards or something. He's literally playing cat and mouse, and he's having fun. You can, like, he's far away, and you can tell he's having fun having this guy chase him around. Go see this movie. Over and over again. I cannot sell this movie. I cannot do this movie justice enough. This is the best movie I've ever seen.
And if you've listened to all these spoilers, you haven't seen it, and you're pissed off at us either because you haven't seen the movie or because we did this in a random order, you have only yourself to blame.
If you watch this entire video and you haven't seen the movie yet, you're a fucking moron. You're dumb. Unsubscribe. If you follow my shit and you're mad at me because I spoiled the movie, when he screamed spoiler alert in my ear, I'm partially deaf now, and you didn't click off, I just unsubscribe. Please. Okay, that might be a little too much, but you know, it's like, I was talking to someone in one of my classes at Winthrop this past week. There was someone in a class I was in who complimented my Infinity War ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, but don't say anything about Endgame. I haven't seen it yet. And I'm like, it's September. The movie made almost $3 billion.
And it came out in, like, what, May?
It came out in May. It's September. Everyone and their dead grandparents saw this movie.
I watched it with him, like, the first opening weekend.
I watched it 3 times.
I watched it twice, because I literally took my girlfriend to watch it, like, halfway during June.
Basically, if you haven't seen Joker and you watched this all the way through and you're mad at us, it's your fault. You're the clown in this scenario. God, I'm turning into Thomas Wayne. But anyway, that means I'm going to have a badass son that's going to turn into a bat and fight evil clowns.
Or in an alternate dimension, your son dies and you become a dark Batman.
I don't want to be a clown. I had a clown mask. I'm going to hold right.
Then if you want to do that, then you need to become...
See? My clown mask.
Then if you want to do that, you need to become a woman and be Martha Wayne instead.
But I don't want to cut my dick off. Why are we talking about this?
You could be a hermaphrodite.
Why am I thinking about this? So anyway, I guess that concludes our review.
Have you tapped out yet?
I tapped out 10 minutes into this movie because I was like, yes, I was.
Take my money,
dude. There was a grown man. There was like at least in his 50s or 60s. There was a 50 to 60-year-old bald, tough guy man that, like, I can only imagine the sheer amount of testosterone in this man's body who was doing this during the movie, like. And I was just like, if this dude is getting a hand job from this movie this badly, bruh, go see this movie. If you're watching this and you've seen it, go see it again. I don't care. Like, take out another mortgage on your house. Get another job. My cat's walking in front of us. Coco highly recommends this movie she has not seen. But yeah.
Poor cat.
All right, so yeah, I guess that about wraps up. Any closing thoughts other than how amazing this movie is and how...
Other than the fact that it's an amazing movie, I think all the actors did a great job, and they did a phenomenal job of not only finding a way to link the Joker with Batman, well, Bruce Wayne, which will eventually become Batman, but they also, you can understand, like, for once, a lot of people can't necessarily understand the Joker, because on the surface, he's just a psychopath who likes to kill people for fun. In this movie, you see what drives him to that. For once, it's not often you can actually look into the mind of one of the best supervillains in fictional history.
Mm-hmm. This movie, I'm going to be thinking about this movie in the shower.
He's going to message me next week and like, you want to go see it again?
Yeah. And I'll be dead serious.
And I'll say no. I love this movie, but I want to spend $10 on movie tickets every time.
I will, like, sell all of my personal belongings to see this movie again. Like, this is art. Like, all right, so there's nothing more to say. Support this movie. Give all the critics who hate this movie the finger. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of the Totally Awesome Podcast, the worst podcast of all time, talking about, this is a contradiction right here, the Joker would love this, the worst podcast ever, talking about the best movie ever. Have you thought about that? Thought about that?
Yes, I have.
Alright, I'm going to go I'm going to go take a shower, because I need...
He's going to have a circle jerk while thinking about the Joker.
I'm aroused right now, thinking about Joaquin
his brother's
Phoenix.
just in the other room, so...
Yeah, well, after I plow my brother, I'm going to take a cold shower. Bye! Like, comment, subscribe!